In a quiet village tucked between green hills and endless fields of mustard flowers, lived a 15-year-old girl named Meera. She was small and slender, with long black hair that glimmered in the morning light. Her eyes were gentle, filled with questions the world never seemed to answer. Every morning before the village awoke, Meera would sit near the old neem tree outside her hut. From there, she could see the mist floating over the river, the farmers walking to their fields, the smoke curling from tiny kitchen fires. It was peaceful, almost too peaceful. The air smelled of wet earth and wood smoke. The sound of distant bells mixed with the cawing of crows that perched on the tall branches. Meera watched them often. She felt they understood her in a way people did not. Her grandmother, Amma, was her only family. Her parents had left the village years ago in search of work in the city. Letters stopped coming, and so Meera grew up with silence, the kind of silence that presses against the heart until it begins to ache. She was a kind girl. Too kind, the villagers said. She shared her food with stray dogs, watered wilting plants, and spoke to old people no one else remembered. But behind her soft smile, Meera carried loneliness, deep, invisible, and heavy. Each evening she sat by the riverbank watching the sunset. The orange light painted her face, and she would whisper, "One day, maybe the world will feel warm again." One morning, as she carried a bowl of rice outside, she noticed a crow hopping near the tree. Its leg was bent awkwardly. It limped in circles, trying to peck at the ground. Meera felt a tug in her chest. She tore a piece of bread and placed it a few feet away. The crow hesitated, cawed softly, then limped closer. It ate quietly, looking up at her now and then, as if to say thank you. That small act filled Meera's heart with something new, something alive. So the next day she did it again, and the next. Soon every morning a group of crows gathered outside her hut waiting. When they saw her step out with her bowl, they filled the air with wild, joyful caws. Black wings flashed in the sun. Shadows danced on the ground. The villagers began to talk. "There goes the crow girl," they teased. "Maybe she's lost her mind." But Meera smiled quietly. She didn't care. When she fed them, the heaviness inside her chest seemed to melt. It was as if each crumb she offered also fed a hungry corner of her own heart. Still, on some nights, as the crickets sang and the wind whispered through the fields, Meera wondered, does kindness really matter when the world feels so cold? Does anyone even see it? Her heart wanted an answer. One late afternoon, the sky turned gray. The air grew still. Then, without warning, the wind howled through the trees, bending their branches until they creaked. A storm was coming. Amma called out, "Meera, close the windows. Bring the firewood inside." The rain came suddenly, sharp, heavy, endless. Meera ran out to grab the clothes hanging near the neem tree. But as she reached the line, lightning flashed, white and violent. A deafening crack followed, and a huge branch broke and fell behind her. She froze. Her heart pounded. The air smelled of smoke and rain. If she had been 2 steps slower, she would have been crushed. Breathing hard, she turned and saw something strange. 3 crows sat on a nearby fence, soaked, trembling, watching her. When she stumbled back to the house, one of them flew after her, circling above as if guiding her home through the rain. Inside, Amma pulled her close. "Child, you could have died," she cried. Meera nodded, still shaking. But in her heart, a quiet thought bloomed. The crows were there. The storm passed by midnight. When dawn came, the village was washed clean. The air smelled fresh. Meera stepped outside, barefoot, the ground cool beneath her feet. She saw feathers scattered near the tree, dark, wet, glistening. The crows had returned, waiting for her. As she fed them, she whispered, "Were you watching over me?" One crow tilted its head, cawed softly, then hopped closer, almost at her feet. Later that day, while walking back from the river, Meera saw a stranger sitting beneath the neem tree. He was an old man, dressed in simple white clothes, his beard silver, his eyes bright and calm. He looked at her and smiled. "You are the girl who feeds the crows," he said. His voice was gentle, deep like the river after rain. Meera hesitated. "Yes, I just feel sorry for them," he chuckled. "You feed more than just birds, child. You feed life itself," Meera frowned. "I don't understand." The man picked up a fallen feather and twirled it between his fingers. "Kindness," he said, "is like this feather. It travels with the wind. You may never know where it goes, but it always lands somewhere. He looked at her, eyes soft. Tell me, Meera, why do you feed them? She thought for a moment. Because I don't like to see them hungry, and because when I feed them I don't feel so alone. The old man nodded slowly. So you give to heal your own heart. That is a good beginning. But remember, when kindness is given freely, it returns in ways you cannot imagine. He held out the feather. Keep this. It will remind you that what you send into the world always finds its way back. Meera reached out to take it, but the man was already standing. Before she could say another word, he walked away, his white figure fading into the golden fields. When she turned again, he was gone. Only the feather remained in her hand, shining faintly in the sunlight. That night Meera lay awake, the feather beside her. His words echoed in her heart. It always finds its way back. Weeks passed. The rhythm of the village returned. Fields swaying, river murmuring, children laughing. But something inside Meera had changed. She began noticing small miracles. How the flowers bloomed brighter near her home. How the birds always arrived when she stepped outside. How the air seemed lighter when she smiled. She still fed the crows every morning. But now she did it with awareness, with love, not pity. She saw them not as creatures beneath her, but as fellow beings walking their own difficult path through life. One morning, as she scattered the rice, a young boy stopped nearby. He watched silently for a moment, then asked, "Why do you give your food to them? Aren't you hungry too?" Meera smiled. "Because they're hungrier," the boy frowned. "But they're just crows." Meera shook her head. "No, they're part of the same world as us. If I feed them, maybe the world becomes a little kinder." The boy thought about it, then ran home. The next day he returned with a small handful of crumbs. "Can I help?" he asked shyly. Meera's heart lifted. "Yes," she said softly. "You can." Soon other children joined. At first they came out of curiosity, then out of joy. The neem tree became a place of laughter and life. The villagers, once mocking, began to notice. They saw how the crows never disturbed their crops anymore, how they followed Meera like guardians when she walked through the fields. Some even said the harvest near her hut grew faster. Whether it was true or not, no one could say. But Meera knew kindness had found its way back. One evening, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky in shades of gold and rose, Meera sat under the neem tree again. The crows perched above, calm and content. The wind was warm, carrying the scent of jasmine and rain. She held the old feather in her hand. It had grown fragile now, almost transparent. She smiled and let it go. The feather rose gently, carried by the wind, swirling through beams of light until it vanished into the horizon. Amma came and sat beside her. "You've grown, child," she said softly. Meera leaned her head on Amma's shoulder. "I just learned to see," she whispered. "Kindness doesn't disappear. It just keeps traveling, like the wind, like the feather." Amma nodded, smiling. "And you, my dear, are the wind that started it all." The last rays of sun faded behind the hills. The crows cried once, a long, soft call that echoed across the valley. Then they settled, quiet, peaceful. The air shimmered with calm. The fields glowed. The river whispered. And somewhere deep inside, Meera felt complete. No emptiness. No silence. Just peace. The kind that grows when a heart learns to give without expecting anything in return. As the screen fades to dusk, her voice echoes softly. Kindness is not a duty. It's a gift. When you give from love, you never lose. You only become whole. The camera pans to the sky. A flock of crows takes flight, their dark wings gleaming in the last light of day. The wind carries their cries far and wide. If you like this story, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the Thrive Motivation for more inspiring stories like this. Until next time, stay hopeful and stay strong.